title to New York. Meanwhile, Brew was right about Purdy's contract. So will Purdy prove Brew right on the field? Now the real test begins.
It does.
That's what everyone's talking about. But we're going to start with the Celtics here. Celtics' quest to repeat as champions ended with 6 playoff wins, a star sidelined with a mystery illness, and an Achilles surgery for Jayson Tatum. Here's 6th Man of the Year, Peyton Pritchard, talking about the future.
I look at it like the Spurs, right? You consider them having a dynasty. They never went back-to-back. But since they never went back-to-back, is that all those years that they didn't win a failure, or did those years help them win the next championship? So it's just, like I said, it's about attacking the next year and the year after that and never – giving up on trying to achieve being on top of the mountain again. So, like I said, attack this summer personally, and our team will get better, and we'll put ourselves in a position to compete for another one.
Not necessarily next year. What's next for the Celtics?
Well, I do think his outlook is really good.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a great way to look at it. And I want to say this first. This loss, whether it would have been this round, which it was, or next round, or even maybe in the finals, but it's appropriate. And obviously the injury to Jayson Tatum is not appropriate. I think the Knicks would have won the series had Tatum, when we watched the way it played out, even if he doesn't get hurt. They were legitimately up 3-1 with Tatum playing, so I think they would have won this series anyway. The reason I say it's appropriate is because these Celtics, and I've been consistent on this, they are not an all-time great team. And now, of course, everybody will say that. But even had they won it, I would have felt like they're not an all-time great team. They're built for this era with just hoisting up threes and playing hard defense, but they are not an all-time great team. And, Nick, these are the teams that have repeated as champions. Obviously, the Celtics in the 60s several times. But since then, the Magic Kareem Lakers, Isaiah Thomas Pistons, Jordan Bulls twice, 2 3-peats, Shaq Kobe Lakers, Kobe Pau Gasol Lakers, LeBron Wade Heat, and Kevin Durant and Steph with the Warriors. The Celtics are not as good as any of those teams.
The closest
and Tatum is not as good as any of the leading players on those teams. Now, Tatum,
that's fair.
He's a Hall of Famer already.
Yes.
We agree. He's a great player, don't get me wrong. Hall of Famer, all that. But he's not on the level of any of these guys.
The worst first option on any of those guys was Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Who's one of the 20 greatest players of all time. And the worst team of any of those teams was Akeem's Rockets.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I
think it's just because had they won,
yes,
we would have had to have this discussion.
Yeah, but
are they an all-time great team? Where's Tatum and this and that?
And I fervently believe, and I wish for a million reasons, most notably for Jayson Tatum's reasons, but also for far less important just consistency of the discussion reasons, he hadn't gotten hurt.
Of course.
Because I believe in my bones they were losing this series with 3.5 minutes left in Game 4. When the Knicks had walked them down again, when it was the third time in 4 games the Knicks turned a 15-point deficit into a lead late in the game and were going to win, that then everyone would have acknowledged the reason they're not repeating like the historically great teams did is because they are not a historically great team. They were last year, over this 5-year stretch, they should have won a title, and they did.
Yep.
And that's, you know what I mean? It's in 2020, they got in the bubble to the conference finals. They lost to Miami. Now I think they would have gotten worked by the Lakers that year, but they came close-ish. 2022, they're up 2-1 in the finals. You know what I mean? They could have won that year. They didn't. Last year, or 2 years ago, pardon me, they have the 8 seed coming into their building for the conference finals, and they fall down 3-0. Last year, they win it. This year, they're the Vegas favorites for the conference all year. They should have won a title, and they did win a title. And I'm glad they won a title because this team, the next time Jayson Tatum plays, if we assume he's going to miss all of next year, which I think he sadly will, is going to be so drastically different, and I don't think people have totally processed it. So, like, if you guys remember the tiers I did like 2 months ago, and the Celtics tier was like dynasty or deconstruction, and it felt, a little hysterical. But the point was this: if we put up the graphic, they are in a position salary-wise where, let me give you an example of what this means. And I know you don't like the accounting stuff, well, so I'll try to explain it. If they were to just trade Sam Hauser and leave everything else as is, it saves them $62 million, because that $10 million costs them $50 in penalties and repeater tax and blah, 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 blah. But here is to me the really, and that's, by the way, with Horford gone, because Horford's not under contract. Here is the scary part for Boston. If the goal is to save money, you have to trade guys to teams that can just absorb most of the contract. Like Drew Holiday's got 3 years, $100 million left on his deal. Trading him for $30 million of salary doesn't really accomplish that much. You also need guys with trade value, which is why, begrudgingly, Simmons today, and he doesn't want to do this. I don't want to misquote the guy, but he, got forced almost into discussing what a Jaylen Brown trade looks like, because again, sorry, if we can just put that up one more time, and I go to you, Wilds. Like, what trade value right now does Kristaps Porzingis have?
I would not trade Porzingis. I couldn't imagine it being lower.
Right. So
to your point, Nick, the fact that you have to make the salaries match up is the problem. He's only got 1 year left. Would a team want that as a salary dump?
But the Celtics don't want to be on the receiving end of a salary dump where they get longer term. So. Drew Holiday, at his age, coming off this postseason, 3 years, $100 million left. I know they are going to be trimming salaries. It is not easy to find. And so if I were a Celtics fan, Wilds, I would just be hoping that some way the next time Jayson Tatum takes the court, Jaylen Brown and Derek White are still his teammates, even if everything else is gone.
That's what I'm.
And I don't know if that's possible.
So this is what I think it was Bobby Marks on ESPN. For every $3 million spent on a player, it will cost them $25 million in additional tax penalties. That seems like
it's a hard cap without calling it a hard cap.
It's incredible.
So next year, do you think it's fair when Steph got hurt, the Warriors went from 57 and 25 to 15 and 50? That was the pandemic. Right?
When Steph Durant left and Steph broke his hand.
Yeah.
Okay, so they lost both guys.
Yeah, but I'm viewing it as I view that in my brain as like the shut it down, Steph's not playing year. Tatum's not playing.
Right.
Is it a shut it down? They got Wiseman.
They're too good.
Yeah, there's no way they'll be that bad. They'll make the playoffs.
They're in the
They'll
East.
win a decent amount of games. They will.
I think the goals for next year are very confusing.
Well, look, Jaylen Brown's going to ball out. He's going to, obviously no player is going into a season thinking we're going to have a terrible year. We're going to lose, right? And so Jaylen Brown, his mentality will probably be, not that he's not glad
I'm going to show everybody.
But yeah, I'm the number one guy now for this season, and I'm going to show it. And then if Peyton Pritchard, he's thinking whether he starts or not, I got a bigger role. I'm telling. That's how when a guy gets hurt, you don't want your teammates getting hurt. You really don't. But you're looking at it like this is an opportunity for me. My role is bigger. More shots for me. Derek White. He's thinking, okay, now I don't just have to be the defender and shoot here and there. Now I'm going to maybe go out and average 20 or close.
Okay.
So I think they'll be pretty good. They'll make the playoffs.
I think in order to execute what you're talking about, they would have to trade Jaylen Brown. Because I think that, and even then, in the East, with Missoula's coaching, which is good, and the regular season length of, we're going to shoot 100 threes, you're going to win. You know what I mean? Your floor, that Warriors team, it was KD left, Steph got hurt, Draymond was in and out, and Draymond without was kind of punted the year. They had made 5 straight finals or 5 straight finals, and they were exhausted and whatever it was. That's not what the Celtics about to do. I don't think it's realistic.
You know that. They're not going to be terrible.
No, I know, but I think it's an odd.
It's an odd spot.
Year.
The flip.
Yeah, but there's no way you're not out
like,
there.
The other question
Right,
is,
that's what
though,
they're gonna
is Tatum trying to keep out hope. I could be ready come the playoffs.
Do not.
He might be.
That would drive.
I'm sure that's going to be
that's
the
what his
carrot
goal
out
is.
there. Yeah,
the carrot out there, and so that's another reason he can't punt.
And the teammates may think that too. Let's just get in the playoffs.
I think that's unrealistic. I'm just saying he seems like such a maniacal worker, and even if it's only a 10% chance, doesn't that keep him motivated where it doesn't feel?
And it motivates the team.
But Durant was out for 500 plus days, and now there's a lot of talk. Like, ooh, Tatum's going to work so hard. It's like a little bit of the Aaron Rodgers-ness without the conspiratorial
I do think it was good that he got the surgery hours after the injury. It does seem like they say that helps, but it's still. I think you should punt on he should say, "I'm going to miss all next year." I just don't know if that'll be his.
Did somebody have an Achilles surgery scheduled that day? That got pushed?
Oh, because Tatum needed it.
Just like all of a sudden, just the world's best doctor.
Yeah.
Just
well,
like,
I mean,
I'll be there.
It was, and I'm not. There's the only silver lining, I guess, was that it happened in New York, so he didn't have to. If they're playing the Pacers and nothing against Indiana, you didn't have to fly anywhere to go to where the best surgeon was.
What are you saying about Indianapolis?
Nothing. Minneapolis is some of the best hospitals in the world. I know that. I'm just saying. I think
bad
New York,
karma, dude.
Cleveland's got
that is
the best
bad.
house.
That's bad karma.
Okay, sorry. I'm just.
If you stub your toe, you'll be in an Indianapolis hospital. Like,
yeah, we are going to Indy. Oh, and I'm going to a
sorry,
game.
we're not a New York doctor.
That's right. So, go ahead. Sorry.
Bad look for you. I think you're great, Indy. Everywhere I'm going.
Yeah.
I respect it. Conference finals begin tomorrow night. Wolves in OKC, while the Pacers will be in raucous Madison Square Garden on Wednesday. Here are the odds for the Final Four.